Good evening, hikers. Thank you for tuning in to another broadcast of Acadia After Dark's Park Updates. Coming to you live on the finest radio show on this side of the Vale. And it's not just me saying that. Ask the Ouija board tucked in the back of your grandmother's bookshelf. You know the one. Or if you don't, just ask her. It's been a busy autumn here in the park. Between the recent incidents with the agropelters, the restless stirrings of the local spirits, and last week's freak accident involving the spectre moose, we've been swamped. Thankfully, park management has granted us permission to bring on a part-time intern to help shoulder the load here at the outpost. This is no ordinary role. The right candidate will need to be fearless, quick-thinking, and ideally capable of surviving circumstances that most would politely describe as adverse. Tonight we'll be introducing our newest hire as soon as they arrive. They're running a little behind schedule, but I'm sure they'll be along any moment now. While we wait, here's a glimpse at what's ahead on tonight's broadcast. A woman accidentally shot her bird hunting companion, and the birds say she deserved it. Is Bigfoot an anime fan? Recent sightings suggest he might be. And with threats of a government shutdown looming, what consequences could this have for our park? But first, I'll look at the weather. Tonight's forecast calls for screaming, mostly coastal, with reduced visibility due to fog that smells faintly of apple crisp and sulfur. If you must go out, keep your back to the trees, and whatever you do, don't listen to the whispers urging you to take a boat out into the bay. Now then, on to our first story. A freak accident that drew commentary from some very vocal local observers. On Sunday, Miss Mary Hall was preparing for a weekend bird hunting trip with her friend Cassandra. While loading her truck, Mary was overheard by a passerby shouting, "Could you give me a friggin' hand, Cass?" Moments later, a single shot rang out, followed by a scream. Police and EMTs arrived shortly after. Cassandra was found with her hand wrapped in a towel, but otherwise stable. Mary, however, was less concerned with her friend's injury and more incensed at the slow response time. According to reports, she blamed Cassandra for the incident, insisting that if Cass had helped carry the haul, including a rifle, none of this would have ever happened. It soon became clear that Mary hadn't even called 911 out of concern for her friend. No, she had a different complaint entirely. You see, when the shot rang out, several birds landed on a nearby fence and began heckling the two women. Not in chirps or caws, but in plain English, or more specifically what seems to be a Massachusetts accent. Within 15 minutes, nearly 100 birds, mostly crows, blue jays, and cardinals, had gathered to jeer, trading jokes I won't repeat here, for fear of the long arm of the federal government bringing the hammer down on our humble broadcast. Mary, furious at the mockery and resigned to missing her annual hunting trip, decided it was only fair to thin out the crowd in her own yard. The sheriff would like to remind everyone that while hunting to fill your freezer is perfectly acceptable, acts of vengeance against our feathered neighbors are strictly prohibited, per the treaties signed by our forefathers in blood and pine resin. The last thing this county needs is another war with the crows. Cassandra is being treated for a superficial wound to her hand, and no charges will be pressed against Mary. While bird activity has noticeably increased around her property, officials assure us the gatherings are limited to roast sessions, so for now, you can lay those fears of avian military escalation to rest. Next up, we have a story from a listener who contacted park officials after a jarring run-in with one of our local cryptids. It began during a Saturday drive through a quiet stretch of Bear River Road. The witness and her husband were enjoying the peace of the woods when it was shattered by a sight so horrific they've since had to attend multiple therapy sessions together. Anyway, there we were, driving along, listening to the radio, when all of a sudden this thing came out of the trees and ran straight at us, the witness recalled, her eyes welling with tears. At first, I thought it was a bear, maybe hurt or something. But then as it got closer, I realized it was actually a Bigfoot. Sorry, Sasquatch. That's what they like to be called now, right? Anyway, I never know what the way things are. Wouldn't want to get canceled. After a moment of awkward silence, she continued. Anyway, as I said in the official report, it was about 8 feet tall, all brown. But there was something wrong with its arms. I'd seen it online once. Those kids outside Area 51 doing that weird run. Anyway, this thing had a headband on. Its arms stuck out behind it, and it sprinted right in front of the car. For a second I thought we were going to hit it. I closed my eyes, and the next thing I knew, a friggin' log slammed into our hood, and the thing was gone. According to our resident Bigfoot researcher, this behavior is unprecedented. So we sought out a second opinion from a man in a Dragon Ball Z shirt at the local game shop. He informed us this is a common practice among the anime ninja community called Naruto running. Furthermore, our newly appointed expert on nerd relations, title pending, warns that if Big Feet have somehow learned ninjutsu from watching anime, it could pose a major problem, though it does go a long way to explain reports of the creatures disappearing into thin air. The Park Service has announced the formation of a committee to investigate this matter further. More updates to come. Our final story of the evening is an editorial from yours truly. In recent months, federal funding has been in question. As you know, we here at the park have done our best to adapt, finding cost-saving measures wherever possible. Some of you may recall the free-range werewolf program initiated by our dearly departed intern, Danny. We still miss you, Danny. Through it all, we've tried to maintain a sense of normalcy for our visitors. After all, we want you to have the best experience here in Maine humanly possible. As exemplified by our proud state motto, Maine, come for the lobster, stay for the eldritch horror. But despite our best efforts, there are forces beyond our control, even with the occasional use of blood magic. By the time this broadcast reaches you, our funding may already be gone. Do not worry, dear listeners. I will remain here until the very end. I've walked these trails at midnight, lantern in hand, listening to the trees breathe. I have seen what waits when the fog does not lift. And I will not let a budget committee in Washington decide whether you get warned about it. If the government comes to shut us down, I will still be here, broadcasting by the light of my lantern as our ancestors once did in their caves. And if the towers fall silent, if the wires are cut, If the transmitters are torn down brick by brick, I will shout into the night until the night shouts back. And it will hear me. As they say, the show must go on. And so it shall. Well, listeners, we're damn near the end of our broadcast, and our new intern still hasn't shown up. I wonder what could be keeping them. Surely no one would want to miss out on such a great opportunity to work for the park. Something must have come up. Yes, hello? Acadia After Dark. How may I help you? Oh. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'm still here. I'll be on the air till they cut us off then. Try to warn as many as you can. That's all we can do. Okay. Yeah, you too, bud. Hey there, hikers. I just got the word. The federal government has shut down, and our service is being ordered to cease operations immediately. First order of business? Releasing the seals on all the worst things locked up in this park. I'm not gonna blow smoke up your ass. There's some bad shit out there. Old things. Hungry things. Try to keep you updated as long as I can. But if the signal dies, well, you'll know why. So for now, keep those lanterns lit and stay safe.